Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too.
Yeah.
And Eddie O potentially had said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter.
Yes.
And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro Basketball Today only on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, a Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen. When the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback, it's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 on a Football Friday right here on the Early Line. It's Donnie Wright, it's Joe Rainier. We do it all week long, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And how many times do we say, like, okay, it's Monday, armchair quarterback. Tuesday, we're getting there. Wednesday, it's hump day. Thursday, you can see the horizon. Well, the horizon is here. And it's going to be 5 o'clock somewhere really soon today. Because why? We got a lot of football to get into in this hour. We got a lot of hot topics to get to. We got a lot of stuff to keep you up to date. So when you go to the water cooler today, you know exactly what you're talking about, Joe. And one of those things in the early lineup is those Atlanta Falcons. Oh, the water cooler's popping in Tampa Bay as they sit 7-7 on the season. They had back-to-back home games. Here's a chance to stretch your distance here in the NFC South. An easy victory over a lowly team here in the New Orleans Saints. That was a loss. How about a lowly team in the Atlanta Falcons coming in with 4 wins, eliminated from playoff contention? They're not going to want to play on a Thursday night game. 29-28 final. The Atlanta Falcons won. Because why, Joe? Tampa had a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter and gave up 3 scoring drives and lost the game by a point. Devastating night for those Bucs.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it was fitting that they were wearing those throwback jerseys because, those teams didn't win any games either, Donnie. And, they stunk too. So, not good. But when you have you got a 2-touchdown lead there, 10 minutes to go at home, there is no excuse with Todd Bowles and the defensive-minded group that they have. There is no excuse for that. And it was such a weird game, Donnie. The fact that Atlanta had 19 penalties in the game for 125 yards and still won, it just tells you how bad Tampa gave this game away. Just absolutely awful on so many levels.
Like, all you need to do is get pressure on Kirk Cousins in that game. They sacked him one time. He threw 44 times. Todd Bowles' defense that blitzes out the wazoo on 44 dropbacks got to him one time. And it's not like he's Randall Cunningham or Mike Vick. Like, man, you can't touch the guy. He's too fast for us. The dude's a statue. 30 of 44 for 373 and 3 touchdowns against that Todd Bowles defense. And again, we played that video early on. Todd Bowles not happy after the game, and he's right. You can't to lose back-to-back games against bottom feeders at home with everything on the line, Joe, killer.
And now you're a half a game behind what everyone thought was another bottom feeder in Carolina. But you know what? Not so much bottom feeder anymore, Carolina, are they here? And they're now in first place in the division. Absolutely crazy what's happening.
TJ Watt in the hospital. Crazy because he was getting treatment for something and ended up damaging a lung. Here's Mike Tomlin talking about it yesterday.
I'm a little bit, cautious about what I say because I'm not a medical expert. But to make a long story short, he was experiencing some discomfort when he was at the facility yesterday, and so we took him to the docs, and they're going through some procedures. He stayed overnight in the hospital. He has a lung situation that's being addressed. I think he has some testing and so forth ahead of him this afternoon, and that's all I know at this juncture. He and I communicated last night. He was comfortable, and that's all I have really at this point.
Can you tell us?
His status for Monday night is really up in the air. I think what transpires this afternoon is going to provide more information for us. I just don't have a lot as I stand here today.
Can you tell us what prompted that discomfort?
I don't know. No, I do not.
There was a report that came out that said that it could have occurred during treatment. Is there anything you can tell us along
I
those
don't
lines?
know specifically when it occurred. I know he was in the cafeteria at one point, and that's kind of when I got wind of it.
Mike, to your knowledge, was he dealing with anything that was worthy of being on the injury report at any point?
Not to my knowledge at all, particularly in game or after the game, nothing.
To make sure he is still in the hospital currently right now.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
By the way, your superstar player, you know exactly when he got injured. You know exactly what the treatment caused here. You know exactly why he went to the hospital. I always love when coaches play dumb, like, look, I have nothing for you. You don't think he has anything for you at this point here? I'm interested to see. Like, it sounds to me, Joe, like a collapsed lung at that point. And if you're going to play in a 20-degree game or 10-degree game on Monday night with a collapsed lung, he's not playing. There's no way he's playing Monday night, right?
Well, the fact that it happened in the cafeteria, Donnie, it sounds like it might be gas. I mean, stay away from the chili, my man. He could be back there in a heartbeat, and they just don't. It could be so ridiculous, Donnie, that they don't want to say that either, and he will be back with no problem. But just a very strange situation. That it would be, a lung issue. You don't get many of those during the season. When it's one thing to get hit in the chest when you're playing, but on a Thursday, Donnie, like that's when something is not adding up here.
No, it's not. And I don't think he's going to play on Monday Night Football. And that's a huge game for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they want to stay atop the AFC North here. Bruce Springsteen once sang a song, Joe, 10th Avenue Freeze Out. Notre Dame could be getting the freeze out here from other conferences. Why? They're having a PR tour that's not going over very well, which basically blames the ACC for them not making it in, even though they're not a football participant in the ACC. Be careful what you wish for, Notre Dame. You might just be left holding the bag yourself.
MOU is what you're going to hear, Donnie. It's a memorandum of understanding. That is what was uncovered because of all of the screaming, yelling, and crying they've been doing now over the last week. That memorandum of understanding says that starting next year, if Notre Dame finishes the regular season in the top 12, they're automatically in the college football playoff, Donnie. You got to love that.
I'll tell you what I do love, Phillip Rivers here. When do we get the announcement? Shane Steichen step to the podium at any minute and let us know if Phillip Rivers is going to be your starting quarterback there. And I do get a kick out of this. He's rated a 70 in Madden, which is probably about right. Who knows if that goes higher or lower, but I do see some of those reports where anonymous sources across the NFL, what do you think about Phillip Rivers starting? And a lot of them going like, we don't understand it, and it might be a disaster. I don't care if it works or it's a disaster, Joe. I want to be watching at 4:25 on Sunday to see old man Rivers out there. Come on, man, make it happen.
Call me crazy. I call it fun, Donnie. That's fun. What this is going to
Football
be.
It's going
to be fun, right? Just protect the poor guy. But at the same time, listen, Riley Leonard will likely give them, if he's healthy enough, Donnie, he'll give them the better shot of being very competitive in this game. But even if Riley Leonard goes, you got to roll him out for a couple of plays, right? Like he's got to be out there at some point in the game, even if he's not the starter.
By the way, football, how it changes, got to get ready in practice. Like, kids don't understand today, Joe. Like, growing up in the 80s, playing Pee Wee football in the 90s, high school and college, practice was the worst. Football practice is the worst practice in the history of the world. Like, just putting on your pads gets you angry at this point. And this man's 44 years old coming back and putting on pads to go out and take on a top 10 defense in Seattle this weekend. Absolutely incredible stuff. Travis Jones, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, he got re-upped for the Ravens. And hopefully that re-up means they can re-up in the playoffs this year.
Maybe re-up. Maybe it's just a bonus because he's not hurt like everybody else on this Ravens team here. But listen, kudos. I mean, it's always been a very smart and well-run organization. They lock up the guys. They don't overpay, but they do lock up guys like Travis Jones, and make sure they handle their business, unlike Cincinnati and some other teams, Donnie, that just let things fester and then ultimately can't figure out why they are an unmitigated disaster the entire year.
Hot stove in Major League Baseball continues to burn here. Robert Suarez heads over to the Atlanta Braves to help fortify that bullpen. Iglesias and Suarez on the back end. That seems pretty good if some of those young pitchers can stay healthy during this regular season. 3 for 45, Joe. He heads to Atlanta.
That was in this free agency class, Donnie. There were a couple of really good back-end closers that could really have helped some teams, and you're kind of shocked that they even let them go. But now you've got 2 of the game's better guys off the market already, and if you need a closer, where were you?
Exactly. Jason Collins here. Devastating news here. Reveals stage 4 cancer diagnosis. He's a twin. Keep fighting out there, man. Keep up that good fight right now.
It's awful. Just absolutely awful. Thoughts and prayers certainly with him and the family there. It's not a good situation.
No, it's not a good situation, but certainly keep on the fighting up there. Thoughts and prayers, as we like to say, Joe. The show does go on. We'll be back after this short break. More football on the agenda right here on the early line. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too.
Yeah.
And Eddie O potentially had said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter. And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge, you're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like I sit back, we've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, a Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen. When the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback, it's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We love playoffs. We love playoff football. The college football playoffs going to start next week. But before we get there, Joe, it's your tradition unlike any other. Saturday afternoon in early December, the Army-Navy game will be played. How about Navy? Opened up as a look-ahead line, 3.5, Joe? Nope, no longer there. 6s and 6.5s now in the marketplace, and a total of 38.5. Game this year is going to be played in Baltimore. Army versus Navy, Joe. Is it just, don't worry about the spread. Just look at the total, bet it under. It's like the S&P. You'll always get that win long-term, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this has always been a classic game and a classic game for bettors, Donnie, because you're right. Sight unseen. In years past, Donnie, you would have said, oh, this is a service academy. I've never watched any of them play. I don't care. Why? Because the under 54, 16, and 4 in games between Army, Navy, and Air Force, right? There is no better way to defend the option offense than if you run it yourself and nobody knows it better, of course, than your defense. But over the last 10 years, we've seen passing offenses come in. We've seen variations of this, but the under still over the last 10 years, Tony, 27, 6, and 2 since 2014. And call me crazy, but I think this number is too low because I've seen Navy play this year, and Navy can throw the ball. They've got a very good quarterback. They throw it about, 12 to 15 times a game. He completes 60, 70% of his passes. This feels like an opportunity. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the over game between these two.
Very interesting stuff here this weekend. Also, Joe, one of the things that we love about this game is you wouldn't think like Army Navy would get some slick uniforms. Every year they reinvent themselves with a new, anthem for each one of those uniforms. Look at the pictures up there now. There's Navy in the blue and there's Army in the white. And sometimes, I used to think over the years, Joe, the better uniform typically for me has always gone to Navy. Like, they just do a little bit better job. Like, Army's more rugged. Like, yeah, we're the infantry. And Navy's always like, we are the cadets here. Or excuse me, we're the Corps. And then we're going to get away with it. And we're going to win this football game. We're going to look damn good doing it under Ken Niumatalolo, who, again, no longer their head coach, but always gave Navy the edge in uniforms, Joe.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, they're both really sharp, Donnie. And you're right. Every year, those are really, really nice. And they'll be on full display, too. So can't wait to see it.
You know that's going to be on full display? The college football playoff, which starts December 19th, which is next week. When I look at this, Joe, and we're going to get to some of the statistics here in just a little bit and some of those Kalshi markets, but I see like JMU, Oregon, Alabama, Oklahoma, Tulane, Ole Miss, Miami, Texas A&M. We will enjoy that. But round number 2, which is the quarterfinals, will be spectacular. Am I wrong for thinking, Joe, early in this college football playoff, that maybe some money on Texas Tech to get to the final could be worth some action? I think they can get there. I think they're better than Indiana. I think they're better than Oregon. I do.
I like it because I have Texas Tech taking on Miami for the national championship.
Ooh,
how's that, Don?
Hey, let's go.
How is that? That is a bracket and a price that is worth taking a look at here. Yeah, listen, it's going to be Texas Tech. You and I have talked about them all season long. It was amazing to us. Everyone's just like, Big 12, Man, you got to watch this team play on a week in and week out basis, Donnie. They've got defense, one of the most underrated defenses in the country. On par, I would put them with OU's defense. Only they have, to me, a top 5, top 10 offense, unlike OU. They are a very dangerous team in this postseason.
Look, JMU, Oregon, not that much intrigue, but we'll watch. Same thing with Tulane, Ole Miss. It's a shame because we could have the best of both worlds with this playoff here. Remove JMU, put in Texas, remove Tulane, put in Notre Dame, and you have unbelievable first-round games. But 2 out of 4 ain't bad here. When we get to the quarterfinals, they'll level up. But the game that I think is the most intriguing, like Miami, Texas A&M, you're not worried about who's playing, who's not playing, which team is going to come. That Alabama-Oklahoma game. What's Oklahoma's offense going to look like? Heck, what's Alabama's offense going to look like? And also, hearing the reports, and sometimes, Joe, in the NFL, we get it better. It's like beat writers are there. You have to put an official report out of who's practicing or not. Like Ty Simpson. Does he have a back injury or doesn't he have a back injury, Joe? Are we lying about this? Are we getting fed to the wolves? Is he going to be fine? What's the deal in Alabama? Have you heard anything about Ty's back lately?
Well, I had said it, Donnie, watching and covering that game on In-Game Live here. I'm saying there's something not right here with him. I mean, he looked very uncomfortable. It was the motion. He was sailing throws, Donnie, and that is usually either a shoulder or, to that point, a back injury where he can't follow through. And he kept sailing the ball over a lot of very wide open guys. So now, granted, Alabama has been on a decline since what? Late October. But they had one of the best middle parts of the season. Started off horrific against Florida State. But my goodness, did they pick it up in the middle of the season? But it has been a rough stretch. here down here, and I just kudos to them for getting the team they've already played and have an opportunity at revenge.
Yeah.
But without him, that's a problem.
Look, if Ty Simpson is what we thought Ty Simpson was like the first part of the season, like they should roll Oklahoma. Like I know Oklahoma's defense is spectacular, but their offense is so bad that if you put up 21 points, you're probably going to beat them. I'm interested to see some of those practice reports that come out because I do want to take Alabama in that game. But you know what? I don't want to be like, I just took this team and Ty Simpson can't even move out of the pocket. And it's really true. He's got some back issues that he's dealing with. The one team that I'm very intrigued about in this is actually Ohio State. If you want to win a national championships this year, you're going to earn it. You're going to get either Miami and or Texas A&M, then probably get Georgia, and then Texas Tech or Indiana in order to win a championship. Boy, getting that 1 seed, it's not easier because you get Oklahoma or Alabama, but that Ohio State is a 2 seed. Good luck on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Having to come from that side of the bracket. You know, last year, Donnie, everything was made like, why is Ohio State, that now almost like in a wild card spot? They got to keep playing. They got to play games. And, sometimes this first game here, just like Ohio State last year, they rolled into this winning that first playoff game and then rolled it in right after that. So I think there might be something to be said about having that first game up here and then building off of that to make a run at a national championship.
Yeah, the questions in round number 1 is Tulane and James Madison going to be able to cover, let alone win those games. We'll find out next week as the college football playoff gets fired out. Kalshi, Holly Market, next. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too.
Yeah.
And Eddie O potentially had said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter.
Yes.
And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think this is a very tough one. I haven't bet this because I still think it's that close. I would lean towards the sentiment of the voter body instead of the anointing of the new star. But at a certain point, the next 2 weeks, Drake May could be undeniable. It's really interesting market right for those two. And remember when Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play all year? Remember in August where he wasn't practicing and now he is number 2 for MVP. So go figure.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You're legendary. I'm legendary. And both of these guys love each other. Right? Cam Ward, they do. They work out. They work out. Legendary.
Go ahead.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Shador Sanders. Yep. 250 plus and 2 tutties each.
Amazing. That's nuts.
Why is it nuts?
Come on, that's crazy.
Why, though?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We just can't quit Josh Allen. He's at a 16% chance. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, don't count Lamar out. The Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen. And then there's those Kansas City Chiefs. But I got to tell you, Joe, you see how we're going lower and lower on this list right here? I'm telling you, a nice little wild card down there. You plunk $100 back and get paid $1,429 back on the Houston Texans.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Kalshi Marketplace time on a football Friday. No better place to be. The predictive market, somewhere you can go to see if you can find yourself, hey, you know what? I don't have to hold my bet, Joe, till the season is over. I can get out whenever I want if I have a profit, or if, yes, bet's not looking too good, cash out with a loss, but certainly curtail those further losses. Let's take a look at a department right now, Joe. The AFC North Division winner. There's 4 teams in that division. It's Pittsburgh, it's Baltimore, it's Cincinnati, and it's Cleveland. You can't even bet Cleveland. Why? Because they're eliminated. They can't win that division. Cincinnati with a 6% chance. Baltimore, 39%. The Pittsburgh Steelers, 59% chance to win that division. If you're plunking $100 down on Pittsburgh, Joe, that pays back $1.70. If you say, you know what? I think Baltimore is going to get back into this. Plunk 100 down there, it's $257 back in your pocket. Or if you want Cincinnati at a 6% chance, yeah, good luck with that. Joe Burrow's already tapping out. Joe, AFC North Division winner here in the predictive markets. Where are we going?
It's crazy, right? But I'd rather buy a contract on Baltimore right now, because once they beat the Bengals, we know that number is going to increase, right? And then, the Ravens will be back to 500. And given what we just learned about TJ Watt, whether or not he's even going to be available, Donnie, for Monday, much less, who knows if he's not available Monday, he's going to be available the rest of the way. So I think now would be the time to consider buying in on the Ravens at that price. And then, listen, if all works out, he's back in Pittsburgh. All the Ravens have to do is win a couple of games, Donnie, and we can make a profit buying in now at that number.
How about this next one here? The head coach of the Michigan football team, the permanent head coach, not our guy Biff Poggi. And by the way, can I scroll down? Is Biff Poggi even listed on He is. 2% chance Biff gets that job. But the leaderboard starts with Kalen DeBoer, which I find it fascinating. Like, how do we get to the point where Michigan's head football coach in the college football playoff is the leader in the clubhouse right now in the predictive markets to be Michigan's head coach next year, not Alabama, Joe? $100 wager on Kalen DeBoer, $358 back in your pocket.
And I'll tell you why that is, Donnie, because Alabama hasn't given him an extension. So he's one of the only guys left that has not been given that lockup deal. But how much you want to make a bet that changes rather quickly? Because Kalen DeBoer will do what every other coach has done this year, is they'll use the thought of leaving. Careful, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. He will use Michigan without a doubt to get himself either locked up at Alabama or maybe it's not the craziest bet in the world to make here, Donnie.
I'm going all the way down this list, Joe. The last guy listed, prime time, Deion Sanders. A 1% chance, $100 wager will pay you back $3,300 if Deion takes over for the University of Michigan here. There's a lot of names on here. The one I get a kick out of, too, is actually above him, is Tom Brady is listed at a 1% chance. Think Brady goes back there, says, you know what? It ain't working out in the pros for me, Joe. I'm out of here.
What is Brian Kelly's number at there, Donnie?
He's down there a little bit. Yeah, Brian Kelly is, let's see where he's at, 2%, Joe. So if you go slug $100 down on him, that's a $5,000 return on Brian Kelly. That would be, you want a lightning rod? Bring Brian Kelly to town. I'm with that. I am.
All right, well, listen, I mean, he played those teams all those years at Notre Dame, right? He knows the area very, very well, knows the recruiting trail very, very well. Interesting at 2% right now. Very interesting.
Myles Garrett looks like he's going to break the all-time sack record for a single season. You know what that's listed at, Joe? An 80% chance, which means he's got to get 23 sacks or more to break that. You know he's going to be headhunting. I want him to get there. A $100 wager will pay back $125. So a 25% increase in your money there. If you do make this wager, Joe, is there a chance he doesn't get there? Like, what are we getting, triple teams, so you don't want to get it blocked there? And also, if he gets close, Joe, we have a quarterback at the end of the game roll right into you to make sure you get that sack record.
He's not only going to beat this record, he is going to shatter this record. And it's going to be fantastic to watch because he's going to do it in fewer games also than what Strahan did. And nobody's going to fall down by accident because the wind blew and give him another sack. So he will pass Strahan, no problem here. It's going to be very fun to watch. And it probably will happen, I would say, in the next game and a half.
I'll tell you what's tough, too, because, like, if you want to break the strikeout record, that's when you're a pitcher. You can strike guys out. If you want to break the touchdown record as a quarterback, you can throw as much as you want. You want to break the running back record, the coach just has to hand you the football. You don't just get handed sacks. Like, those you have to actually earn it on the football field, unlike Michael Strahan. We're going to get back to the gridiron here for Sunday's action next, right here on the Early Line. Massive budget down there in LSU, no doubt about it, Joe. But
Well, I just want to bring in, he's very close to Eddie O, too.
Yeah.
And Eddie O potentially had said he would, love a return. You bring that type of talent, another major recruiter. And Ed Ogeron back to Baton Rouge. You're going to have a fantastic NFL caliber type of staff, and they're going to hit the ground running week number 1 come 2026.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think this is a very tough one. I haven't bet this because I still think it's that close. I would lean towards the sentiment of the voter body instead of the anointing of the new star. But at a certain point, the next 2 weeks, Drake May could be undeniable. It's really interesting market right for those two. And remember when Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play all year? Remember in August where he wasn't practicing? And now he is number 2 for MVP. So go figure.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You're legendary. I'm legendary. And both of these guys love each other. Right? Cam Ward, they do. They work out. They work out. Legendary.
Go ahead.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Shador Sanders.
Yep.
250 plus and 2 tutties each.
Amazing. That's nuts.
What? Why is it nuts?
Come on, that's crazy.
Why, though?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We just can't quit Josh Allen. He's at a 16% chance. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, don't count Lamar out. The Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen. And then there's those Kansas City Chiefs. But I got to tell you, Joe, you see how we're going lower and lower on this list right here? I'm telling you, a nice little wild card down there. You plunk $100 back and get paid $1,429 back on the Houston Texans.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Shador Sanders last week had a very good performance against the lowly Tennessee Titans. It wasn't his fault they lost that game. What was surprising, yet the Cleveland defense couldn't hold up and stop a terrible offense in the Tennessee Titans, which saw Pollard running left and right. Now you got Chicago headed to the Windy City, and we do mean windy because it is going to be frigid temperatures that we're expecting below 0 with a wind chill. A touchdown favorite for Chicago with the line currently sitting at 7.5 and a 38.5-point number. Shador Sanders on the road taking on Caleb Williams. Freezing cold temperatures, Joe. My first inclination, taking the points and this game staying under. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, well, obviously the weather is worth monitoring and keeping on. But, I mean, you got such a low total here. And listen, do we think that Shador Sanders is going to thrive in these conditions against this Chicago defense? Or do we think that he might struggle a little bit like rookies often do? Listen, I think at this point, Chicago, the way they can run the ball, even against this Cleveland defense, who, by the way, just got torched by, of all teams, Tennessee. I don't think it's going to be the highest scoring game, but I don't think Chicago's running game can be stopped here. And I do think that they'll win this game and likely win it by double digits.
Yeah, we were looking at before, like, hey, Cleveland, you can't run on them. Well, they got ran on last week by Tony Pollard. This is a really good running game, and also in those cold temperatures, I have no problem giving 15 carries one side to Swift, 15 carries on the other side to Monangai, and having an athletic quarterback at Caleb Williams fill in the rest of the time. I don't know if they can cover the 7.5, but I do think Chicago wins the game. I think it's going to be a slower tempo game. But again, we thought last week, who the heck is going to score with a 33-point total? They blew that out of the water between the Titans and the Browns. So week-to-week basis, we'll see what happens in this one, but I am leaning towards the under and taking the points with the Cleveland Browns. How about this game? 425. What a waste. It actually means a ton. The Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Not for the New Orleans Saints, but Shuck had a pretty good performance the previous week against Tampa Bay, rushing in a couple touchdowns. Carolina sees the finish line now with a legitimate chance to win now with the Tampa Bay back-to-back losses. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road, Joe. Here's the problem. Usually it's Carolina. Can they cover a spread? Because they're getting points here. Carolina, the expectations are for them to win a game on the road. How are we playing this one?
Well, this is going to be fascinating because you have a Saints defense, Donnie, that has been, nobody's talked about them, but my goodness, they have been very, very good and very competitive. They blitz more than anybody. I think they have the 4th highest blitz rate in the NFL. And Carolina, well, they're 29th in passing attack against the blitz. So that's not going to work. But what the Panthers do is they average, I think, 28 and a half carries a game, Donnie. They're going to try and run the ball. The problem is this New Orleans defense is also pretty good against the run. So this feels like it's going to be a rock fight. This feels like maybe the Saints starting to believe a little bit in Tyler, in Chuck, and that they've got maybe an opportunity here to win a couple. Nobody likes losing the whole year. We know that. So maybe at home, this could be a spot where the Saints surprise a few people again.
Yeah, and also Carolina expected to win here and all that pressure on them, where the past couple of years they had no pressure. Oh, look, they won. That's cute here. No, they're expected to win this game. We'll see how Bryce Young does on the road as a 2.5-point favorite. The most intriguing game on Sunday could be a blowout, but it might be a lot of fun just watching. The Indianapolis Colts haven't released who they're going to start at quarterback. Keep in mind, we didn't think there was even an option. You signed Phillip Rivers. He's probably going to be the starter, but we are getting practices here from Riley Leonard this week. The total sits at 42.5. The side, Joe, minus 13.5. Sam Darnold versus, we hope, is number 17. And that number 17, that ain't Daniel Jones. It's Phillip Rivers.
No, I mean, the Colts season, it has just turned into a total disaster and now a sideshow here. But listen, I appreciate the effort to do anything and everything they can, but the reality is, their offensive line is a problem too. Why, Donnie? Because whether it's Riley or Phillip Rivers, they're not going to have their all-pro right tackle Braden Smith here, who ranks, I believe, Donnie, is one of only a handful of guys that's given up 2 or few sacks all season long. That's a problem. The defense without Buckner, without Sauce Gardner, without Ward now, that's a problem. So not good here at all for Indy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to get Phillip Rivers to get into a shootout with Seattle. You're probably going to try to keep that ground and pound style there with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. But let's hear from Uncle Phil on what he thinks about this weekend.
The easiest way to eliminate all the things that can go bad is to stay home. And the only way to find out can you still do it is to go try. And I really try to keep it that simple. And so, again, I don't have any concern from the neck up, and I don't have any concern of making a throw. But again, the game's not routes on air. But I'm excited. It feels good to have teammates that I played with. I've been in the huddle with JT. I've been in the huddle with Quentin. I've been in the huddle with Pitt and Mo and these guys. I've been in there with them. And so something about that feels like, crap, has it been 5 years? Like, dang, everything feels the same. And, again, I'm not naive to the challenge that's ahead at all. But I keep saying keep it that simple. I'm trying to keep it that simple. And I know that the NFL is a big deal in this, and it can be whatever it can be. But to me, it's like, hey, you get to play football potentially for 4 more weeks and maybe then some. And as long as I can live with the results, both good or bad, and go back home and move on, then I was willing to go for it. And I was able to get to that place mentally.
How's he not in, his post-career? Usually you retire, you go into the broadcast booth. He would be sensational as the color guy in a broadcast booth here. You just see how animated he is. It's going to be fun. It could be a disaster, or he could throw for $192 scores and they pull out the victory. We don't know. I'm leaning more towards it's not going to work out, but damn it, this is fun.
It's good to see Roger Clemens playing football, apparently, because a quick look, that looked a lot like Roger Clemens going on there. But listen, he coming in with the right attitude. Doesn't he just he sounds like what a quarterback is supposed to be, a leader, a guy that, commands the room. He's a pro's pro. So as long as the guys in that huddle and on the sideline believe he can get it done, we have seen crazier things in the NFL in this sport, Donnie. If your guys believe in you, anything is possible here.
Exactly. And Phil gets into that huddle. It's like, hey, man, let's get this going. And he's going to be charged up and he's going to be talking trash. And we'll just see how quick he is in the pocket. He's never been a runner. You got to be able to protect yourself, but we'll see if he can do it, because Seattle, is going to be bringing that heat on him just to see what he has left in the tank. Tennessee and San Francisco. Tennessee picked up a victory last week on the road. It wasn't really because of Cam Ward. Didn't throw for a lot of yards, but the running game was certainly on point. Brock Purdy and the 49ers coming off a bye. Double-digit favorites show, minus 12.5 in the total. That's listed at 44.5. To me, this does have smoke show, absolute blowout written all over it. Give me the Niners by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've done a very good job at mitigating the 49ers, the loss of Warner and Bosa, right? They've done a very good, they've taken advantage of the schedule, and you're going to see it again in this spot. It's amazing what well-coached teams can do, even though you may be down all pros all over the place. A well-coached team is still better than these teams, including Tennessee here. Yeah, I kind of like them here. By the way, 0-10 against the number is Tennessee after a win. So what does that tell you, Donnie? They usually yes, we won, and then they turn back into a pumpkin, and that's the end of that, which I think is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, me too. You look at that game again. Ward didn't play all that great last week. Congratulations on the victory. I'm not going to get back-to-backs. And also, if you are San Francisco, man, you are lying in the weeds right now. That is a tough division where you have to stay up there with the Rams and the likes of Seattle, which we just talked about going up there against the Indianapolis Colts. So for me, I think San Francisco wins. A big day for Christian McCaffrey. And also, just want to see how those wide receivers get back into it. When do we get in that Pearsall breakout game on the outside here? Maybe it comes this weekend. How do you feel about the total, Joe, quickly? 44.5? I just don't like that Tennessee offense. I think all the scoring comes from San Francisco in this one.
Team totals. That's the way I would look in this game, Donnie.
Team totals, more action. How about the team totals for the Lions and the Rams? What is it, 35.5 apiece? Scoring. Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, a Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen. When the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback, it's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You're legendary. I'm legendary. And both of these guys love each other. Right? Cam Ward, they do. They work out. They work out. Legendary.
Go ahead.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Shador Sanders.
Yep.
250 plus and 2 tutties each.
Amazing. That's nuts.
What? Why is it nuts?
Come on, that's crazy.
Why, though?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
I think this is a very tough one. I haven't bet this because I still think it's that close. I would lean towards the sentiment of the voter body instead of the anointing of the new star. But at a certain point, the next 2 weeks, Drake May could be undeniable. It's really interesting market right for those two. And remember when Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play all year? Remember in August where he wasn't practicing? And now he is number 2 for MVP. So go figure.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Whose house? Rams' house. And it will be this weekend, Joe. The Detroit Lions come to town. Another dome team taking on the Rams, who we think probably pound for pound, the heavyweight champions in the NFL. The look-ahead line on this game had a 3.5-point favorite for the Rams. No longer the case, people. It's up to 5.5 and 6s across the board, and points are expected. The opening line at 51.5. Now we're up to 54.5 and 55s starting to break through. Jared Goff's going to have to do a lot. I just think the Rams are the better team. I trust the Rams defense much more than I do Detroit. A touchdown victory for the Rams for me, Joe. I think that's in the cards. They flex their muscles against the Lions.
We saw this total get bet up, what, 5 points,
Yeah.
Donnie, which is just such a ridiculous jump in an NFL game in Week 15. So the books underestimated what the market was thinking was going to happen in this game. But I can't blame an overbet here, Donnie, because look at the secondary of Detroit. They lost Brian Branch to an Achilles injury in that game there. They've lost DJ Reed now. They have backups to the backups playing in that secondary. And who is it? We just watched CeeDee Lamb, right? Absolutely destroy that secondary. What do you think Stafford and Puka Nacua are going to do with this secondary here? Detroit is going to have no problems trying to air it out. They are going to be desperate. They're going to leave it all out there. The problem is that defense has been giving up 30-plus points a game, Donnie. You know why? Those injuries in the secondary, this is not a good matchup for Detroit. They'll leave it all out there. I think this game's going to land in the 60s somewhere, Donnie, but ultimately they're just not going to have enough. They're not going to get enough stops against Stafford and the Rams offense, which is going to lead them to likely lose this game.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. A couple weeks ago in that Carolina game, Devontae Adams started experiencing a little bit of a hamstring problem here. Did play last week, but he hasn't practiced this week, Joe, Wednesday and Thursday. But we know the Friday practice, the most important practice of the week. Keep an eye on that. But Tutu Atwell off the IR from his hamstring injury, full practices on Wednesday and Thursday. They get him going. It's not to say, Kevontae Turpin there for Dallas. It's like, hey, man, that's a nice little Swiss Army knife. That's another weapon, Tutu Atwell coming back into the equation, something to keep an eye on if Devontae Adams can't go in this game. But certainly a fun look there at 425 this Sunday. Another game, maybe the game of the week. One of the best in the NFC, one of the best in the AFC. That's the Denver Broncos taking on the Green Bay Packers from Mile High. Minus 2.5-point favorite. Not for the Denver Broncos as the home team, one of the hottest teams in football, but for the Green Bay Packers. Let's see what we get in this game. Jordan Love has been very good. Knicks has been very good. Both of these offenses capable of moving the football. And you might think, Joe, wait a second. Mid-December in Colorado, how much snow? No snow. 60-degree temperatures at kickoff for this one.
Which is kind of crazy. But, here it is. I mean, not only did we see an 11-win team, a dog at home in the New England Patriots, but what are the chances that we get the same thing in Denver at home? And now all of a sudden everyone's like, wait a minute, how in the world is this happening? Well, I'll tell you how it's happening is that the Green Bay Packers come December again. This is one of those teams, Donnie, that seems to be figuring it out at the right time. The Chicago blitzed him last week, and every time they blitzed Jordan Love, he lit him up. 8 of 11 for 126 yards against Chicago last week versus the blitz. You know who blitzes more than Chicago? Denver. Denver blitzes a lot more. And by the way, Christian Watson, way to step in. The loss of Tucker Kraft was huge, but Watson now leading the NFL, 6 receptions of at least 20 or more yards since coming in week 8. Yeah, they've got something rolling here offensively, and I just don't think that Sean Payton and Bo Nix are going to have enough in the bag against this defense to win this game.
And by the way, you do take a look. Oh, what's the conditions out there? There's no rain in the forecast, Joe. And how about the windy conditions at Mile High? It's 1 mile per hour expected here. You can't place a better football game for a better temperature game than what we're going to get this Sunday in the Colorado Rockies in December. Make it make sense. It doesn't. Minnesota and Dallas, they're going to play in the Dome. No worried about what the temperatures are going to be there. You take a look at J.J. McCarthy, good performance last week. You take a look at Dak Prescott, ramped up and ready to go. CeeDee Lamb, off of his concussion, should be good to go for this game on Sunday night. A 6.5-point favorite for the Dallas Cowboys in a total of 47.5. I think that 6.5 is a little bit too much for me. If J.J. McCarthy, and it is a big if, just has his normal game, I think they can cover the spread, Joe. I think they can.
Well, if they do, this is likely going over. And Dallas, by the way, looks like they're going to get a few starters back, including, you mentioned CeeDee Lamb, but Trayvon Diggs looks like he is trending to play. They're going to get their left tackle back there. Tyler Guyton will also be back. So, Dallas will have an opportunity here to put some points up against this defense. But to your point, if McCarthy, who I think has a favorable matchup in here, if he can get the ball to his playmakers, we could, a real sneaky shootout here, Donnie, is what we could get.
We could. Again, J.J. McCarthy's passing number is 193.5. You take a look at his to throw 2 touchdowns in this game, listed at now at plus 154. That's dropped a lot. That was closer to 2-1 this week for him to do that. So I think it's interesting for J.J. McCarthy what we're going to get out of him. But Dak Prescott, 260.5 in this game. Now, it is interesting when you look at the receiving props. Only 2 guys listed so far for the Sunday night game. That's Justin Jefferson and George Pickens, because we're worried about a little bit of that banged-up information and what we're going to get from CeeDee Lamb once he's officially announced that he's through concussion protocol. But I look at Justin Jefferson. Every single week I look and say, man, 60 yards. He should be able to do that in his sleep. And it doesn't seem like he does. It's like it's more Addison, and he's a decoy at this spot here. The highest paid wide receiver in football as a decoy, Joe. Not a good look for Minnesota right now.
No, it's not. But you know what? I was impressed with the bounce back effort last week there. And I think they can build off of that. They are capable of doing that. So I do think they got a little motivation rolling right now.
If I gave you one touchdown prop in this game to look at, Joe, Javonte Williams, Pickens, Lamb, Ferguson, Jones, Jefferson, Addison, who would get the dough for you in this game?
I think Pickens is going to be very interesting in this game here. Wasn't a great game last week, but I think he's going to be really good this week against this Minnesota defense.
Locked in. Both Pickens and Lamb listed at FanDuel right now, plus 115 to find Pater this weekend. One more segment to go as we close out the weekend style with a little best bet action. Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen when the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback. It's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got a.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You're legendary. I'm legendary. And both of these guys love each other. Right? Cam Ward, they do. They work out. They work out. Legendary.
Go ahead.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Shador Sanders.
Yep.
250 plus and 2 tutties each.
Amazing. That's nuts.
What? Why is it nuts?
Come on, that's crazy.
Why though?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
I think this is a very tough one. I haven't bet this because I still think it's that close. I would lean towards the sentiment of the voter body instead of the anointing of the new star. But at a certain point, the next 2 weeks, Drake May could be undeniable. It's really interesting market right for those two. And remember when Matthew Stafford wasn't going to play all year? Remember in August where he wasn't practicing? And now he is number 2 for MVP. So go figure.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Closing the show out in style. It's how we get down. It's a hard-working week here. You earned it, people. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The weekend is here. Awesome football all the way through. College basketball tomorrow, NHL, NBA. You got everything you need. But the one thing we don't have what we need now, Joe, is listening to the people and their understanding of what the questions we're asking them are. Because why? It's our Fade the Public poll. Let's get to it. Come on now, people. Let us know at SportsGrid each and every day, Monday through Friday. We want to make sure you understand the task at hand. We ask you a question, you give us feedback, and then we see if we want to fade the public. What underdog are you taking in Week 15 in the NFL? That's this weekend's games. Patriots plus 1.5, Chargers plus 5.5, Bengals plus 2.5, Lions plus 5.5. The leader right now live, Joe, 34.1%. It's the Lions. In second place, it's those Patriots. Nobody really buying into the Chargers or Bengals here, Joe. Why?
Well, not watch the Joe Burrow conference there, the press conference. That'll tell you everything you need to know about the Bengals and the Chargers. It's just not a good spot on the road against Arrowhead there. And quite honestly, Donnie, I'm not sure about the Patriots or the Lions in this spot. So I get why the Lions are going to be the public favorite. But we talked about this, Donnie. The Lions have been being bet all week long, and yet the line keeps moving towards the Rams. Got to ask yourself why, and why are the Patriots a dog at home? 10-game winning streak coming off a bye, Donnie. Make it make sense.
We got to make it make sense. I'm interested in that Chargers plus 5.5 because I don't know if Herbert's going to be able to handle the football in that cold weather in a must-win game for Kansas City. But the price point's right. Like Kansas City's not going to blow you out. The Chargers will probably hang around and see if they can steal that game. And the Patriots, getting no respect at home as a 1.5-point underdog when they lead that division, have already beaten the Buffalo Bills. And as Joe pointed out early in the show, they're coming off a bye. No respect, they say. It's like Rodney Dangerfield here. You know, we're going to get some respect right now, Joe. Best bets of the day on a Friday, because Friday's payday. Here's bye. What do we got, Joe Ranieri? Come on, bring it.
Well, we've got the NBA here tonight. We've got, finally a healthy Steph Curry back on the court for the Golden State Warriors tonight at home, taking on Minnesota Timberwolves, who are still a little annoyed there on how the playoffs ended last year with Golden State and Jimmy Butler and company handling business. Ant is on a tear. 40-point games, it feels like, every week out of him. They've coming off a loss to Phoenix at home, which wasn't great. But both these teams very well rested. It's going to be great to have Steph Curry back in his building there. And we saw this total open up at 227.5, Donnie. It's already up to 230.5. And I agree. This feels like it's going to be a wild shootout between Curry and Anthony Edwards, and sign me up for it. I can't wait to see it.
Let's see it happen. T-Wolves, Golden State, get the over, drop those 3-point shots, get a blowout in the first half. Let's go and get it. For me, I'm also going to go to the association, Joe. 8:30 p.m. start. The Brooklyn Nets and the Dallas Mavericks. Last night, a hit on a team that had 3 total wins on the season and picked up an easy blowout victory with the Pelicans. I'm going to go back to the well and say the Brooklyn Nets think they're on the road. Nobody wants the Brooklyn Nets. You know what's the Brooklyn Nets? Your boy DRS. 30% of the ticket count coming in on the Brooklyn Nets as of this morning. That overnight line, Joe, was 9.5. It's actually dropped to 8.5. We're taking the 8.5 points today with the Brooklyn Nets as an ugly underdog on the road, Joe. Love it. Love taking the teams nobody wants to take, Joe. That's me.
It is ugly, and everyone loving the Dallas Mavericks here at home in Cooper Flag. But, this could be a little tough here for Dallas. I thought for sure, Donnie, you were going to go Washington. Without a doubt, I thought you were going to take the 14.5 tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But not even you could bet the Washington Wizards.
Get it back to the Bullets there. We'll bet them all night long, man. Yeah. Washington Bullets. What a great name back in the day there for that team. By the way, Joe, we're going to have a quick Kalshi market for you right now. The starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts will be named today, or will they hold out for Saturday, Joe? Me, if I'm betting in the Kalshi markets, this one, Phillip Rivers is my starting quarterback, and he's named today, Joe. What do you think? What's your market analysis there?
I think if Riley Leonard can go, he will go, but I wouldn't be shocked on it if they make it a game time decision just to keep
game.
Seattle on their toes.
I'm telling you right now, if Riley Leonard starts, they're going to cover that 14. But I don't want to see that. I want to see Phillip Rivers out there. You know what, Joe and Donnie? We'll see you bright and early Monday morning. Enjoy the weekend.